Okay, it is now 6:30 PM on August 19th, 2024. Meeting of the Templeton, Mass Conservation Commission at the Town Hall, 160 Patriots Road, East Templeton, Mass, at the conference room. Item number 1 will be review of the meeting minutes from 7/15/24. Has everybody had a chance to read them or look at them? Okay. If so, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain because I wasn't there.
Oh, that's right, you weren't here last month.
Can I get those signed?
Huh?
Do you have them signed?
Okay. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
I can't, right,
Yeah,
right ahead of you, yeah.
perfect.
Okay. Okay, it is now 6:34. The second thing is a COC request number 304-0348 for 21 Branch Street Extension for the construction of a single-family home, residence in the BZ to a bank.
So a site visit occurred here on July 17th. Any members that weren't present, you all received the photos. The site looked clean, the wetlands were intact. There was no issues. So I would be looking for a motion to issue the COC.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Abstained?
Nobody.
Motion carries. I'm gonna pass this down so you guys.
Sign it as usual.
Yeah.
Has everybody signed it over there?
It's okay.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
I know who everybody is.
I figured you did,
But if you ask a question and speak, just remember to say your name and your address.
and we will do that. Yep, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, number 2 is closed at 7:37. Okay, number 3, a COC request 304-0387 for lot 4 Hubbardston Road, number 510, for the construction of a single-family residence and grading within the Riverfront area.
So a site visit occurred here on August 15th, along with the builder. We inspect the erosion controls. They looked great. The only thing was that the grass hadn't grown in, however, it had been hydroseeded. And the grass should probably be coming in within the next 2 weeks. So based off of that, I would be looking for a motion to issue the COC.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Christoph?
Aye.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Here you go.
Okay. It's 7:35, 7:38, I'm sorry. Number 5 will be,
Four. Well, we just did 3.
yeah, 1200 Patriots Road, am I correct? Yeah.
OOC Extension Request is.
Oh,
next.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You said,
Mr. Andrews, would you sign that and pass it along?
it-
We just did this.
Extension. I did it backwards.
Okay. That's the one in Baldwinville.
Yes.
What is that word?
Appurtenances? I think it's like accessories.
Okay,
Mr. Andrews, you want to read number 4?
yes, okay, number 4. Extension request 304-0369 for 12 to 16 School Street for the conversion of an existing schools into apartments with parking, landscaping, and additional appurtenances within the Riverfront area.
Take one of that. So it looks like with us this evening, we have Matthew Zaylor of MPZ School Street via Zoom to represent the request. And I just passed out to the commission a reminder of, the project. And Matt, if you want to say a few things, I think TCTV might be, I gave them a slide they might want to show, and you could kind of talk about, just remind everybody what the request was and why you are, asking for an extension.
Sure. Thank you very much for having us this evening. Members of the commission, I appreciate all that you've done for this project so far. I have some familiar faces here, so appreciate it. And so, yeah, the project here you see before you is 54 units of mixed income housing, 15 in the school building and 39 in the addition, with improvements to the site that include parking for the related building, as well as landscaping improvements, a walking trail that goes along the back of the property, a playground area, which will be open to the public, and also an overlook. It's the former railroad abutment, but we'll be improving that and making it safe so people can enjoy the views of the river from the trail. 76 parking spaces, and 12 School Street will be preserved. That's the small building that says existing building, kind of on the, I'd say, top left part of the plan. And we'll be, making that better in that we'll clean the siding, new roof, some small improvements there. And yeah, that's pretty much the proposal. The reason for the extension request is related to the financial closing, which we're looking to have take place at the end of the year. And then we'll start construction in January is the current goal. It's just taken time to get all of the resources together to fund the project, but we are making good progress, and we're looking forward to getting started in January.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank
Does
you.
the commission have any questions? If not, we would be looking for a motion to grant the OOC extension request for 3 more years.
So moved.
Second.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. Well, yeah,
All those in favor of the OOC extension request for 3 years, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. All set, Matt. I will.
Thank you
reach-
very much, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you. You
Thank
take
you.
that, sign it, and pass it.
Okay, that's at 7:40. We closed that one. Our next one is going to be number 5. NOI number 304-0392. Oh, yeah, I gotta sign this first. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do it
I'm
simultaneously.
I'm getting ahead of myself here. That's what I get for putting my hearing aid in.
So all the material for this one is that big pile, right?
That's all of it. Yeah.
The DEP notes, the NOI, the site plan,
Perfect.
and the stormwater, if you want to.
Well, that's it.
Oh, I really don't.
No, maybe put them in between you guys, whatever.
Well, this it.
Um,
And you got this one.
Dave, you
Did that get signed, Joanne, next to you, did that get signed?
This,
Yeah,
I'll sign.
okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Just can.
so,
yeah,
all right,
that's
so
right.
Mr. Andrews, if you could you read number 5 out loud? I'll do my thing,
Yes, I will.
that would be great, thank
All
you.
right, 1200 Patriots Road, Old Patriots, 0 Patriots Road for the construction of new storage buildings with associated parking within the 100-foot wetland buffer zone.
Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor of opening the public hearing?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. To open the public hearing, I will read the legal notice. 1200 Patriots Road, parcels 2731, 2721.3, 2731.1, storage warehouses, notice of intent. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, that a public hearing will be held on a notice of intent filed by James Rowe of Haley Ward, Inc. on behalf of UHC of Central Massachusetts of Webster and Lowfield Templeton LLC of Leominster. Project location is 1200 Patriots Road, Templeton, map 2-7, parcels 31, 21.3, and 31.1. Description of project is the construction of new storage buildings and associated parking within the 100-foot wetland buffer zone. The hearing will be held on August 19th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at Templeton Town Hall. Any person wishing to be heard concerning the above application should appear at the time and place indicated above. The notice of intent is available for public review at the Development Services Office, Room 3, 160 Patriots Road during regular office hours. NOI is also available upon request from J. Case at templetonma.gov, George Andrews, Chair. So with us this evening, we have from Haley Ward, Brian Melissi, to represent the application. The commission did have a site visit in July with Jamie Rowe. And Mass DEP did provide a file number with comments, which we'll get into. But I think maybe to start, if Brian, would you like to do a short presentation to everybody? That would be great. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. For the record, Brian Melissi with Haley Ward,
Melissi.
engineer. Oops, I get.
Sorry, Melissi.
I know these, a little bit of a different location. They told me to put it up over here now. I don't know. You're good? Okay, good.
And it's gonna show up on the TV screen over there too. Might be able to see it on there.
So first thing, point of order, Mr. Chair, I do have copies. Actually, I have the actual green card from the abutting notifications. I had scanned them and emailed a
Yep.
copy. You want the original? There you go.
I'll take
You
the
can
originals,
PDF
yep.
Copy. So again, we are here in front of you tonight asking for an order of conditions, a notice of intent for project at 1200 Patriots Road, which consists of 2 warehouse buildings. This is kind of a larger scale blow up of the property. Once Patriots Road would be at the top of the page, the Route 2 off plan here, but the plan west. Actual Route 2 is down here, and kind of off locus over this location would be Lampsey Road, Rice Road, and then this is just a blow up of the project area that's included in the project set. I do have another larger site. Roll on the front side. I'm gonna, if it's okay with the chair, I'm gonna provide just a quick little handout. We had opened up the hearing to the planning board last Tuesday, in which we're asking them for a special permit as well as site plan review. And this was just a quickie little handout. Just to explain the 2 buildings, and then I'll kind of get into some of the other amenities of the site. You mean one of these? Are you good? Same thing as last week. You guys good with it? So again, we have represented U-Haul, Central Mass. The project consists of 2 warehouse buildings. One here, which is Plan East, one over here, which would be Plan West. But the handout is just a very quick explanation of the 2 styles of storage buildings that they're going to provide. The one on the east or the west building over here is your very typical self-storage building in which you would rent the unit. You would have a key or a fob to get in. You would store your stuff and bring it and take it as you please. The building over here, Plan West, is what U-Haul refers to as a U-box type of building. Very similar, I said this the other night to the planning board, so I'm gonna say to you guys, it's very similar to the pods. U-Haul would probably throw something at me if they were here saying that, but it is where I would rent a pod or I rent a U-box, they would deliver it to my house. I would fill it up at my house, they would come pick it up and store it here. And so there's two different styles of storage. If you look, it's just a little bit of verbiage on those two styles. And there's just a very rough floor plan. Again, the typical self-storage plan would be filled with different size units, 5x5s, 5x10s and whatnot. Be a two-story building with elevator access. The U-box is just a wide open warehouse, and these boxes are stackable. Big difference being, there is obviously public access to this building. If you own a storage unit here, you can go access it. Typically, this building here, there would be no reason for the public to be here. So, Jessica had brought this information to the planning board the other night. Jessica asked me that I just provide it to you.
Yeah, I don't think we knew what was the contents of them, you know,
Just
so that's good to know.
Quick overview of what it is they're gonna do here. Plus, on the westerly side, there's a couple of typical outdoor storage buildings here. So the property is accessed, again, there's two sides. Start with the right side first. That's access to means of egress. Then off of Patriots Road, there is a loading dock. Trucks would come in, load, unload, and move off-site. Here, again, the floor plan would show that there's a retail area here, which would be manned by employees. Obviously, if I came in and wanted to rent a spot there and park here, come in, talk to the employee about what size I want, whatnot, they could give me a tour through the building. So there is some parking areas provided here, and most of it would be just regular self-storage, pull up to your unit, load, unload, do whatever you need to do. Property is going to be serviced by municipal water. We are going to extend the water main from William City Road area westerly, which serves the two sites. It'll be serviced by a septic system located in this location here. Because these buildings don't have very much flow, it's a fairly, I won't say a small system, but it's not a very large system either. Septic tank, pump chamber, force main up, same thing for this building here. Septic tank, pump chamber, force main, and pump up to effluent to here. Stormwater is going to be handled by a typical catch basin to manhole to stormwater basin type of scenario. You can lay out here that we have in front of you. We have three basins, one at the front, one at the rear of the easterly building, and another one at the rear of the westerly building. And that's what that thick report there is. Kind of goes through the calculations of how we size the basins and whatnot. I would like to add that the planning board through their process has hired a peer review, Mr. Mark Giannini, and he has provided an initial report from the planning board, which went through planning board issues as well as stormwater issues. And so I do have I believe I have a copy of that report. We can go through that if you want. The plans show a wetland line. Traverses along here. Again, I believe there's been projects well in the past that had plans to develop a lot of the rear property, which I believe included a wetland crossing. But this proposal here, we are not showing any work within this area here. Everything is to the Patriots Road side of that wetland. It is a buffer zone only project, although we come very close to the wetlands edge, we are not filling any wetlands. I know it's probably pretty quick, but that.
No, that's pretty good. That's good.
Okay, great, thank you.
That's good. Do we want to start off with initial questions with the board?
Sure,
Questions, yeah.
yes, I do. Even though in abbreviated notice of the resource area delineation, was done and in order to that, what was submitted, that was back in 2007. So that is out of date and has expired. What I would like to see is the flagging, the updated flagging in the field. We need to go out and check the wetland flagging. So this whole plan needs to be updated if you're basing this flagging on 2007. Because as we know, things change. Beavers are very busy and they change wetlands quite often. So I would like to see the updated delineation and everything is in the field flagged.
So,
All we saw was the corners.
All we saw was the corners to the buildings flagged.
so I was not at the sidewalk.
Yep.
That's another guy, Jamie Will was. Since the planning board meeting on Tuesday night, I had one of the guys in the office go out and first I want to say, absolutely agree, we'll do all of that, but I'm not. This speech here is not to subvert any of that, we are 100% going to do that.
Wonderful.
We took a machete, we went down to the wetland edge and the flags are there. Most of them have faded, but most of them are there. It's very, very, very thick. You do need a machete, take it down there, but we will go and do that. We will lead you along the tour and try to get there, but bring proper clothing, because it is very, very thick. I will apologize. There was a coordination error with the plans on that 2007 line versus the 2022 line that we will show you out there. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I'm skipping ahead or, but through the planning board process, again, it opened on Tuesday. Some comments were made or some discussion, I guess, was back and forth regarding some of the conservation issues. And about how we may need to either have the line have a third party look at the line. So what I'm offering to this commission is, and I also heard the name Mary Ann DePinto thrown out last Tuesday. So we got a hold of Mary Ann DePinto to find out whether she would be willing to be hired as a third party to review the wetland line. She said she would. I'm not putting words in her mouth. We do not have a contract with her yet. We didn't want to go that far until we discuss it with this. Whether you want to go out for bid to more than one reviewer, people would be comfortable with Mary Ann DePinto, or what the process would be. We're certainly willing to do that. We're willing to do that at the applicant's expense, obviously.
Thank you. We are very familiar with Mary Ann DePinto. We hold her in the highest regards.
And I brought that up because her name came about last Tuesday, and so it's a pretty small fraternity once you get into it. So we had Mary Ann's number. She is retired from DEP, but still does some of this stuff privately on her own. And again, we contacted her, and she'd be willing to do that.
Very good.
I would proceed with that. That's going to be one of the comments that Mass DEP mentioned, and you're going to satisfy that by having her services.
That sounds good. The only other question is that they had too, and I asked if the calculations were based on a major rain event or 100-year flood. And here the DEP said it's in a zone A flood zone.
So kind of two different questions. If you, in the report, the storm frequencies and the storm depths that we use are all on current, what they call the NOAA, National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Association, Atlas 14. We usually include those numbers right in there. I didn't bring my copy. I can tell you, but it's all the current rainfall depths for a 2, a 10, a 25, and a 100-year storm. And what we do is we provide those calculations to that. What we do is we calculate how much runoff from the site prior to development.
Right.
We calculate post-development by utilizing those 4 storm events. The last one we had 100-year storm. That's current DEP and stormwater regulation guidelines to use that NOAA Atlas 14. It's actually going to become in the regulations. I believe it's already in the draft, the new draft regulations, but we did that. The other flip side of that coin would be the 100-year floodplain. So that is a flood zone that's provided by FEMA. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, in this case, it's done on the old maps. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this.
Unfortunately,
Uh,
they're old.
And this I printed off today. The FEMA website's excellent. You can go on there for any address and you can pick off whether it's in a floodplain.
However, they have claimed that they will be updating them in 2024, so
That's it.
wouldn't that be
I'm
lovely?
gonna touch it.
Hmm.
So unfortunately, they have some draft maps already available. We're not supposed to use them for design, but we like to check them just to make sure nothing's gonna drastically change. Unfortunately, this area is not slated for those new maps. And so for the time being, we are stuck with this type of map,
Mhm.
which was this flood insurance study done 43 years ago in 1980. It was done by approximate methods, which means this is what they call a zone A, which is 100 year, you have a chance that it's gonna flood with it once in 100 years, or a 1% chance of a flood. The other term that we like to see as engineers is an AE, which means it's a zone A, but it has an elevation associated with it. Excuse me, in which case, if the AE tells us that the flood elevation is 1020, we can go do our topographic study, grab that 1020 contour and say, here's the 100-year flood zone. We don't have that luxury here. And so what we do is we take this and we try to best fit it to this. And as you can see, the shape of it is very well contoured with the shape of the wetlands. There has been numerous projects that were submitted, approved, and not built. They were all under the premise that that the zone A is indeed within the wetland boundary. And so that's what we're proposing. That's what we've done. So we do not propose any wetland filling on that premise. And if I went too fast or too quick, or I could try to re-explain it, but sometimes that happens.
And then
The- I'll give you a quick little preview. This will be coming with the revised plans, obviously, that will be stamped. This one isn't stamped. This is strictly just for discussion purposes tonight, but oh, my page. What we did was we took the 2007 wetland line, overlaid the 2022 wetland line. And as you would expect, or maybe somewhat expect, it mirrors it, not exactly. Some places it's better, some places it's worse, but it's literally by 2 to 5 feet. It's not 20 feet, it's not 30 feet. Except for a little spot over here. I'm not sure what happened. The green is the wetland line that shows on the plan currently.
Hmm.
The magenta or the purple is the line that shows in the 2022 report that will show you where the flags are. And so as you can see, I'm not a wetland guy, and I have been, don't claim to be. But sometimes you go out there to flag a wetland and you, okay, the wetland is here, you find something to tag it on. It's a little bit different. So from a survey standpoint, I think we're in pretty decent shape. Again, to reiterate, we'll have Mary Ann go out there and figure out the best way to confirm the line, either on that sidewalk with this commission, or she can go out on her own, draw up a report, and then we can invite her back to that walk. It's whatever you guys think is the best way to do that. We will conform to that.
Usually she goes out by herself and writes up a report and submits it, and then she joins the site walk
Okay.
if we have any questions.
Yeah, Mary Ann, yeah.
Mary Ann, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've known her
She's
for
done it in the
years.
past. Yeah,
You know, it's okay with the commission.
yes, please.
We wanted to wait for the meeting.
Yeah, no, yes.
So we
please.
saw you guys, so we talked to you guys, open the hearing, we will get that process moving.
Now, is there any endangered species out in that area? No, okay.
Check the map again today, just to make sure I didn't overlook something.
I know they have that map out there. I just,
There is no NHESP overlay out
Across the
there.
street there is.
yeah, across the street, yeah.
The only other, there's other questions here too from the DEP and you will address.
So
each
most of
one.
those, and I'm not paraphrasing, but most of those have to do with the design of the stormwater system itself. Excuse me.
Right.
Depth of seasonal high groundwater table, we did do some test bits out there to show you that we conform to that. They did have some issues with the proximity, how close some of the fill, the basins were getting down to the wetland areas here. And then again, I think I told you, as part of the planning board process, there were comments made from their peer review engineer on some of the stormwater system. And like I told them on Tuesday night, that what we'd like to do is get everybody's comments and try anyways. Come up with one set of revised plans that kind of takes care of everybody's questions. That way there's not 3 sets or 4 sets of plans floating around town hall, which can get confusing. So not paraphrasing or skipping things, but most of the rest of those comments had to do with the design of the access into the basins. You'll see that the plan will provide that 6-to-1 or 5-to-1 access into some of these basins. And things like that. So we are in the process of reviewing those and kind of taking care.
Now, are there gonna be any handicapped accesses to there? Are they gonna be set up so if somebody with a handicap, when a wheelchair can get into those to work at them or not?
Into what?
To any of the storage units? Or are they all gonna be wide open, not right on the ground?
So there is in this area here, there will be a handicap parking spot and a handicap ramp.
Okay,
And this being a 2-story building, there is an elevator.
Okay.
So if you needed to rent a spot on the 2nd story, not only do you not have to lug your stuff up 2 flights of stairs, there's an elevator to bring that stuff up as well as anybody that would be handicapped accessible. Again, this building is not set up to be handicapped.
No, it's just for the
because
box.
there's no
Yeah.
public access really to this building. I will say, again, one of the bigger issues that came up in planning on Tuesday night, I don't know if it's a conservation issue, I'm not gonna make that leap of faith, but it had to do with lighting. And so we've gone back to our client, and they're looking at the actual architectural style that they're gonna put these 2 buildings under and do a lighting stuff. So we will provide that information to the planning board. We could certainly make it available to you guys when that becomes available, but
Yes, please.
That's awesome, because that was going to be part of my question. What else are you doing for sustainability and energy efficiency?
sustainability, as
Energy
far as the
efficiency.
building goes, I don't know, I'll have to get that information. I'm not the architect, but I will get you some of that information. Find my notepad.
yeah, the comment was made that maybe the building should blend in with the trees and stuff over there rather than be orange or whatever, or I don't know if that has been thought about or anything.
So there's and I'm not the architect either, I'm just a lowly civil engineer, but they do have a whole host of style of architectural elevations to the building, and I think one of the reasons why we haven't got that yet, because they haven't decided which style they're going to use. So once we do get that, we're going to make that information available to the planning board for review, comment, and revision or whatever it may be. But I will again pass that. I will pass that along.
Please. Do you have any
Okay.
questions?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Okay.
Your building west, did you say, the one on the right?
East.
Yeah.
It
This
is,
yeah.
so, is sewage going to the left building?
Nope.
Or it has its own,
Has its own septic tank and pump chamber. And it doesn't pump into this septic tank for the second building. It goes and pumps it right into the
and how are you getting that force main to the other side,
you know, right down Patriots Road.
going down the street?
Yeah.
Okay,
And so I'm remiss, I did send the planning board, so we do have permitting to do with Mass DOT. And both an access permit for the driveway egresses as well as a utility permit,
Stream crossing?
Hmm.
water
Is that
and
a stream crossing?
how are you heating the buildings?
Huh?
There's a culvert is
No.
there.
It's gonna follow the existing.
You know, is it oil? Is it propane?
I would imagine. it's
I don't
propane.
believe there's any natural there, but
I would imagine it's propane, but I will tell you that I don't mean to misspeak. I will find that out.
and the
Thank you.
placement of those tanks. Being the size of those buildings, it might be a pretty large tank, it might not, it might be multiple tanks. It might not,
So you would,
but I don't think it could be set in the buffer zone.
and right now, they are not. I will double check that and make sure. You'd be surprised at the low amount of flow that these buildings actually use. There's only a few employees here. Obviously, there are facilities that have to be made available. But the flow is big.
And these are called, the building on the left, that is called a climate control building.
Correct.
So you have heat and air conditioning. And another question. Where do you push the snow?
That is one of the comments from the planning board engineer. We will show that on the plan. We will show snow storage area.
And would they be using salt and sand or just salt?
Very good question. If the commission has a preference to one or the other or both, we would enjoy that in that order of conditions and tell the property owner what to use.
And I imagine there's a drainage system that would collect debris and probably have the oil devices in them.
All catch basins will have put in traps, oil gas traps, and there is a detail for those on the plans. Since everything has a trap or a water quality unit type of structure associated with it. And we meet the TSS removal at 8% that's called for in the stormwater management guidelines. The newer guidelines come out for phosphorus and nitrates. In this case, we have to handle that first flush of a 1 inch rainstorm. You've seen the calculations that we do that as well.
That's all my
Great
questions.
questions. Great questions. Amanda, you're up. Questions?
What I asked, mine were just sustainability and energy efficiency.
Mr. Andrews, questions? Joanne, further questions? Christoph, questions?
Good.
So usually what I would do is I would read Mass DEP's comments for the record, and then we can address it. It might be fairly quick now, considering I think you touched on a lot of them already. Is that okay with you, Brian? Okay. All right, so this was Mass DEP's comments. The plan references an approved BVW designation from 2007. As the ORAD has expired and the delineation was historically conducted, the commission should verify the boundaries and may consider requesting supporting documents for the delineation. That's,
So we did talk about that.
Just
We
talked
watched the
about that.
documents, and again, we'll have that third party review. Which,
very good. Next paragraph, the site or portion thereof as shown to be located within Zone A flood zone, which corresponds to a bordering land subject to flooding. The applicant should provide calculations and supporting documentation demonstrating compliance with 310 CMR 10.57. The commission should ensure that the applicant has performed the necessary calculations to determine the extent of BLSF resource on the project site in accordance with 310 CMR 10.52A3. So again, you brought up the flood zone maps and touched on that after Joanne asked that question. Yes?
Yeah, and they're.
Yep. The boundary of bordering land subject to flooding is shown to share the bordering vegetated wetland boundary. And how is this determined and at what elevation?
We're gonna kind of went into that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Diatribe there, and unfortunately, there is not an elevation that we corresponded to. It's not an AE. And so I just, that information is on available.
Yeah.
It costs $1 million to do a study to actually come up with that elevation, so.
Next paragraph, it says the applicant should clarify the, the erosion control location in the vicinity of the wetland flags.
So I don't have the erosion control plan on board. What DEP is talking to is what I referred to is an area here. And an area through here that our edge of grading, which has a corresponding erosion control barrier associated with it at the edge, is very, very close to that wetland edge. So what we will do is once we identify the edge that we're going to use, which is with the variance, we will revise this basin in this area over here to push that away. So we will provide revisions to the erosion control plan as well as the grading plan. Yep.
Okay. The proposed riprap outlet appears to be sited over the bordering vegetated wetland at flag 157, and the applicant should verify the extent of work as no resource area alteration was
Yep.
stated.
Same issue.
Yep.
They need to take care of that. The tracking error, but we will move that edge away from the wetland line.
The applicant modeled peak flow using grass cover pour, woods grass comb fair cover types for the portion so the site. Woods good is typically used to model forested areas where leaves and or vegetation cover the grounds. The applicant should justify the use of these cover types.
It's good to see DEP's getting into the stormwater review. Again, what I'll say is the planning board's engineer did his review. He did not bring that up.
Okay.
However, because we're gonna be here looking at things again, we will look into that.
Okay.
And if the stormwater system can handle with using the better cover type that DEP calls for, we will just change that in the report. Otherwise,
Mhm.
I'll be here throwing my engineer's hat and bore you guys to tears about drainage and try to justify it. So
Amanda, would you like
I
to
can
add
tell you
something?
right now exactly, since I know the calculations very well. If you used Woods Good as your cover type, you're actually going to overestimate the peak runoff because there's more runoff on grass poor as well as woods grass combination fair. So you actually did more than what they require.
So he went to the maximum extent practical already.
You did.
you try, again, no, I
Yeah.
can't say I got 1,000. Even 350 at that now, it's gonna be a lot of money in the throws, but we try to incorporate that some of what it is. So we welcome the comments again, just to go through and explain to you guys what it is we do. So.
Did you all understand that the trees absorb more water essentially? Yes, okay.
Sounded like that. Kind of. Gotcha.
Infiltration BMPs must be set back a minimum of 50 feet from a surface water, and a test pit are required at the location of infiltration BMPs.
Yep, so again, we're talking about Lowly Basin A down here. We are 50 feet away from wetland areas with everything else. Again,
We just need the offsets down there.
here
Yeah.
we do. I did myself, I went back and checked
Okay.
it, and there's a little spot right over here that I can see what they were talking about. So again, once we have that new wetland line, we can offset that 50 feet, and I'll prove to you that the bottom of the infiltration devices meet that 50-foot offset.
Okay. Says mounding calculations are required if bedrock and or high groundwater are present within 4 feet of the bottom of infiltration structures. A detail on the separation should be provided for each basin. The applicant should provide a detail for proposed extended dry basin to show that the design meets the criteria outlined. And the O&M plan should include requirements specific to the infiltration basins and the extent dry basin, and should include a manufacturer's product sheet.
We will provide that. I mean, we can discuss it and go into
No,
detail if you would like, but we will provide that information. You have those notes
Yep.
now. So we will-
Lastly, it says the property owner should sign the WPA3 form. I have a copy of that. I hooked up with Brian on that, and I don't think that when he did EDUP, it went through. Have you since provided it to them?
I have.
Okay, I have a copy of the owner's signature, and it's all in the packets that you have. All updated materials shall be provided to Mass CP and the commission. So obviously, when you have all of this revision, we would like a copy, and I'd like to CC me that you sent it to them as well. So we have record of that.
like I said before, that the premise of the idea would be to have a single set of revised plans. And
Right.
we would get both the planning as well as conservation, and we can certainly copy DEP with that information.
Very good.
At this time, I think we can open it up to abutters. If you guys have any questions. I did have an email submitted if you would like me to read that, or if you would like me to surpass that and you can just ask your questions, whatever you would prefer.
I would like you to read
Sure.
it and kind of address if any of what Glenn said overlaps onto this DEP.
Comments?
Okay. Or more.
I
I
Can-
didn't quite understand.
Could you kindly state your name and address for the record loudly?
Terry Levelly, 11 Brandon Drive.
This is her email. Related to the attached recent abutters notice, we have consulted with an environmental specialist on certain activities that have been proposed behind our home. The previous project was stopped because of wetland delineation issues and corruption within our community. Our consultant has advised us that the plans for the current project are encroaching on the wetland boundaries related to both infiltration structures and do not meet the required 50-foot setback from the bordering vegetated wetland boundary. I have attached the rules for groundwater recharge from the Massachusetts Stormwater Handbook stating the boundaries required to accommodate wetlands. Do you agree on the wetland line that was overseen by Mass DEP and EBT consultant back in 2011? We ask that you have an outside peer review of the wetland boundary on the subject property. I believe you are required to do this. Please advise if there is an ANRAD, ORAD, RDA, or DA in place. The commission has the authority to require the applicant to pay for an outside consultant under Chapter 44, Section 53G. We have support from other abutters as well. John and Terry Levelly of 11 Brandon Drive.
And I forgot about that, but you were emailing today with Glenn. He had some questions
Who's Glenn?
following up. Glenn Kravoski,
Is he your
You're-
environmental consultant?
right?
Okay.
You're Jessica
Yep.
Case, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so he emailed back regarding that. I gave him a copy of the DEP thing.
Mhm.
And also the planning board, the review, James wrote.
Mhm.
I gave him those two documents. I think he looked at them, but mostly he was focused on the DEP.
Mhm.
And he emailed you a few things today, just a couple of questions. Did any of that?
His only
Trigger.
question was, did the commission receive any updated plans since DEP's comments? And the answer was no. And then his other question was, do you require applicants to submit revised materials 7 days prior to a meeting? And the answer was no.
Okay.
And we
So-
haven't received any revised material, as you've heard from
Okay,
us.
so I think something's gonna come out of that.
Okay.
But furthermore to just the delineation and all the references to 2011. Mary Ann DePinto, as a representative of the DEP and also a representative of the Army Corps of Engineering, and Glenn Kravoski of EVP Consultants, did a site evaluation in 2011. There's no reference of that in anything because that wetland was delineated again. And they were all in agreement that it was understated by 50%. There was much more wetlands.
So the delineation was referenced again, and that's why the applicant is gonna hire somebody to
2011,
this applicant is gonna hire somebody today to redelineate the wetlands for the site.
but you're not referencing the 2011, so you are.
We don't
going to-
want to reference the 2011, we want to
Right,
reference
correct, and that-
what's out there
that-
right now.
It needed to be updated and that's
So
what
why
they're going
wouldn't
to
you, though,
address.
If it was all, why wouldn't it supersede 2007 if it was done more recently than 2007?
Well, even so, that's 2011 and it's 2024. So
Yes.
we're asking the applicant to provide
New.
new
Updated.
So
delineations.
is it
The
better or
wetlands
worse?
change.
I mean.
We won't know.
If
till
you
we
We
get
won't,
them.
we genuinely won't know until we
because-
get them redelineated.
Right, because the 2011 looks very different than that. There's much more wetlands, is all I'm saying. So, okay.
That might be a fair point, but we want to know what's there today to permit this.
Well-
And so that's what the applicant is agreeable to do for the
This
commission.
gentleman from Haley Ward, he was out there, was it him or who? Somebody went out and delineated. Was it your firm?
We did.
And you came up very close to what was in 2007,
We did.
but so it should be very different than that from 2011. So it's confusing. And
Yeah,
if
wetlands
Marion
change.
Pinto is going to be a third party, she was at the site in 2011.
Okay,
Is that any kind of conflict?
no,
Okay.
It'd be interesting to read her report if anybody has a copy of it.
Yeah.
So we are well informed.
And can Glenn Kravoski be present for her evaluation?
That would be up to the applicant.
yeah, I don't know.
We could talk to Marianne about it.
Can
Yeah.
somebody follow up for us on that
I will.
and let us know? Okay,
I'll go for you, Jessica, if
Very
it's okay, just to keep everything
Yep.
kind of flowing the right way.
Yep.
I will ask the question and I will,
Perfect.
can I ask a couple more things? Is it okay? Since you already have my name.
Mhm.
So the site runoff and drainage / stormwater, the septic and leach fields and all of that, is there any risk? Actually, is there any risk to the wet area in the middle where all the overgrowth, where all the water is flowing? Through the culvert across the street into that, isn't that still a cold water fishery across the road?
it is
Yes.
Beaverbrook, I believe it's Beaverbrook, I believe.
So that culvert is still open.
Yes.
Is there any risk in that area of anything draining, running off into there and going into the cold water fishery?
Brian?
Yep, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, of course.
Let's set that for you.
I just know this from 2011.
And I will state that if the commission has a copy of anything from 2011, we certainly
I-
will take any information that we can get just through.
Do not.
Okay, so anyways, as far as the septic system goes, there is a presumption in the Wetlands Protection Act that states that septic systems, if they are designed according to Title V, do not pose any risk to wetlands. And so, of course, we have to meet Title V with our design of the septic system. I'll take this one first because it's a little easier. As long as that meets Title V in its entirety, there's a presumption that it's going to meet the standards of the interests of the act. So
So even like salt and sand and,
So
All
septic
of
systems
that.
don't see salt, they don't see sand.
well, I mean drainage.
Nope.
Okay, okay.
I said I take the easy one first, which is
Okay.
the septic system, because there is that presumption. So from a drainage standpoint, if we meet all the 10, there's more than that, there's 10 standards of the act. 10 standards of the stormwater guidelines. And in our report, what we do is we go step by step, number 1, all the way through number 10, and show you how we meet those standards. There is proper offset to groundwater. There's proper settling time. Each basin is designed with a forebay to settle out particulates after they go through a deep sump in the hooded catch basin, which is gonna let the solids settle to the bottom. It's gonna let the floatables, which is the oils and the greases, stay to the top. It's such that they do not exit those structures. The operation and maintenance plan says that these structures have to be maintained, they have to be pumped, have to be viewed every 6 months, they have to be pumped when that silt accumulates to 50% of the sump and whatnot. So as long as we meet those guidelines or meet those regulations, the presumption is that we meet the interests of the act when it comes to wetlands. Hope I'm paraphrasing it, going very
So
quickly,
you
if we
say if you
do,
do.
correct, and that's the impetus of the reason for these reviews, both by DEP, the planning board, and this commission as well. And so we have our working orders, we have comments, still collecting comments, as a matter of fact. The next step, again, would be to go get that wetland line delineated, get it reviewed, get it approved, quote unquote. That way I can move anything that I need to move away from those prescribed distances. Yep,
Okay, so that's not the runoff piece.
that's
right?
the runoff piece.
That was the,
That's the
okay,
runoff.
it's all meshing
That's
together.
stormwater, that's what we call stormwater. So there's,
Okay,
The runoff goes into the basins.
okay,
there's a treatment track that goes into a catch basin,
okay,
that goes into a water quality unit.
that makes sense.
Then it goes into these stormwater basins, twofold. water quality, like we're just talking about, and water quantity. So they also, what they do is they knock down what we refer to as the peak rate of runoff and the volume of runoff. Like Commissioner Simmons said, we mow down some trees and put a parking lot, it creates more runoff. And so we have to calculate how we mitigate that with these structures.
Okay, so thank you for that. One more thing. I think Joanne mentioned endangered species.
George did.
George, okay. Are vernal pools considered endangered species?
No,
The fish in there, are they still protected? in
they're,
any
they're
way?
only protected, if vernal pools are certified, usually they like to see them in the resource area. Sometimes some isolated pools can get certified, but you certainly have to have enough evidence, to prove that. So, it's unlikely that any isolated pools, I'm not aware of any certified vernal pools in that area.
We, from the site evaluation and other things in 2011, and I think it went on for longer than a year. But there was a vernal pool identified, just was not certified. It kind of got, I guess, dropped because of everything with the wetland issues, the delineation. Is that something that the Conservation Commission would look for?
Yes,
Certainly something that we're
absolutely.
concerned about. Is it in this front half of the property or is it in the back?
I think my husband knows where it is.
Name?
John Levelly, 11 Brandon Drive.
Thank you.
It's one of the left building
Okay.
towards the back of the building. Yeah, somewhere in that vicinity.
And do they just go away every time? I would think
They can if there's a lot
I
of
don't
tree
know.
growth sucking up the water.
What?
Yes. If there's a lot of tree growth sucking up the water, they absolutely can. But to certify a vernal pool, it needs to have one of the vernal pool species in it. So salamanders or fairy shrimp is usually what we
Right.
look for.
There was something in there, I can't remember, but I just wanted to bring it up in case somebody wants to.
Yeah, we'll
Look for
check it
it.
out when we're
Well,
out there.
And that would be a good question, when Mary Ann goes
Right.
out.
Yep.
And we've actually had a lot of rain.
Yeah.
This year, so the vernal pools are still holding water, where normally this time of year, it's getting
Dry.
pretty dry and
Good
and
question
it's
from Mary.
normal for them to dry up.
It's been pretty wet though.
That's
Right,
true.
so right now they're holding water, so sometimes it's easier to define them.
Right. Well, I think that's it. Sorry for.
No, you're fine.
with that.
No, you good, you have very good questions, we welcome them.
I hope it's helpful. Thank you.
We don't know what's there, we can't look for it.
One question, Tony Richard, 13 Brandon Drive. And I don't know if this is a Conservation Commission thing. So Brandon Drive, and I believe a lot of the homes in the Rice Road, Brandon Drive area were all wells, right, well water. And I didn't know if there was any digging or, rock, anything that would impact the water from, in our wells, what's the aquifers that the water comes from, if there would be any impact to the quality of our water.
So what you're concerned about is maybe they have to do some kind of blasting because there's heavy rock, or, like using hammer drills or, something like that. It
We
would
don't
depend on
have
the
an aquifer.
topography. We did walk the area. It didn't look like there was a lot of rock out there. It was, we don't know what's under the ground. How far away are you from?
Brandon's right
project.
way down
I
there.
think they said we're about
Well,
1,000
they're way
feet.
over on Ranch.
About 1,000 feet from the rear of the property line. Yes. About.
Yeah, it's just our water and their water is completely different depending on how deep you go.
Right.
And it is a whole system waterway down there. This isn't factual, but I was told when the Searstown Mall went in, that's when the Bolton Flats got flooded, right? So I don't know how true it is. Big brand knows it's public. But the point being is, things just can be.
Well, hopefully something like that, wouldn't happen, and I would think it would have to be a significant amount of, blasting or drilling or.
That had a lot to
whatever.
do with the hydrostatic pressure too, of the water.
Right.
You're just pulling up groundwater
Right.
and your well, it's not an aquifer. So anything happening over there really shouldn't be affecting yours.
I mean, we can't guarantee anything, of course, but, we just.
But when does
scenario
it become a
wise.
concern? Right, or timing wise, or any protection that we might get just in case? We don't know. How do any of us
Well,
know?
And the thing of it is, you could have your neighbor next door. And they have to put in a new well and they drill a well and it affects yours. So you have to look at that kind of a scenario. As well, you're not gonna tell your neighbor, well, you can't put in a well because it might affect my well. We can't tell a company, well, you can't present us plans because it might affect someone's well. We don't know that.
Is there well insurance?
I don't know, that's interesting because last time we went
In this
around
area, I
with
don't
this,
think so.
there was discussion about you can get insurance, would be paid to protect your wells in case after they blasted, you had any issues and things like that. So
We don't even know if there's any blasting proposed here,
That's-
so, we're kind of getting ahead of the game. I think we need to see the.
Because of the fairly high groundwater table, excuse me, within this site, blasting probably will not happen. I can't sit here and say unequivocally it is not gonna happen. However, if blasting were to be proposed, if they hit a novel ledge and had to be removed, they have to do it according to the state regulations, which provides what they call a pre-blast survey to everybody that lives within a certain radius of that. I used to live in a house that had a well, and if I ever got a pre-blast survey, I would go out and have my water tested prior to any blasting going on, so you have a pre and a post, just you have something to compare it to. But again, I don't know about insurance. I imagine they have insurance for just about anything nowadays. But there's ways that you can protect yourself. However, before he puts a piece of dynamite in the ground, which he can't even use dynamite anymore, but before they start blasting, they have to provide pre-blast surveys to everybody within a certain radius. Just so they're not cracking foundations or doing things like that.
Oh, that's
do you
good to
happen
know.
to know the radius?
I do not. I honestly do not. I can, sure, I'll see you again.
I have
In
a
a good
question.
way, but I can find it out.
I have a question. Are these buildings 1 and 2 slab on grade?
Yeah.
So in a sense,
Really?
this might answer your question. There's no cellar foundation,
Sorry, what?
slab on grade.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You
Good.
know,
It's just
in other
concrete
words,
on the
they're-
ground.
They're
There's
not
no
going
cellar.
down.
They don't have to dig
4
into the
feet.
ground.
So the 4 foot frost cover. Massachusetts has it's a 4 foot minimum depth of a footing, so it's 4 feet. So the deepest part of the construction in this entire project will be the elevator sump pit, they call it. So the elevator has to go down, which would be typically a couple feet lower than that slab.
And that'll be out near Route 2.
And that'll be.
Two-way route.
Won't be on this, but it's some of these locations.
And-
Is the land gonna need to be level though for these buildings?
Yeah, not level. Welcome to, right?
It's already pretty flat.
Welcome to Worcester County. There is gonna be some, because of the groundwater, there's a grade change, so, from Patriots Road that comes up a little bit. Most of the area around the 2 buildings is fairly flat. It's gonna have a little bit of pitch, so we get that stormwater to run. What we call that a building pad. Most of that stuff will be flat. And then the perimeters will all fall off, be graded, loamed and seeded edges. There are a few retaining walls and whatnot, so.
And kind of answering maybe your other question. Nowadays, if there was any blasting done, they would just drill down and instead of using dynamite, they would use a plastic expanding powder that would crack the rock. So we don't have to go busting up everybody's, so that's commonly used today.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. That was good
Yeah,
information.
that was good. Thanks
Good
for all
point.
that. I appreciate it. It helps.
Other questions?
Anybody else?
I think this was a really great start. I think that
You know, yeah, I think that you're gonna come back with revisions. I think, eventually we need another, site visit. So at this point, I would be looking for a motion to continue the public hearing. Do you think
What I would like to do,
that
I
October
would
is good
like
or not?
to, if the commission's amenable to it, would be to continue to the next meeting. I know you only meet once a month.
Yeah.
The schedules that aren't mine, that I'm kind of playing with here. Mary, for some reason, is
Yeah,
on vacation
of
or
course.
whatever it may be, and it's gonna get pushed out beyond that, I can let you know. I know I had said it before, it's an inconvenience to have the abutters have to show up, and then they just say, well, no, geez, go home, the engineer didn't show up. But what I can try to do is I can try to get you a week, at least a week in advance to say, yes, we have new material, or I apologize, but we're gonna need an extra month.
That's
If
fine.
the commission is amenable to that, that's.
Yeah, that's no problem, you know, as long as we know we're not gonna, we can cancel it.
We would
or change it.
we would just continue it.
Right. Okay. I'll make a motion to continue NOI 3040392 till
Well-
September 16th.
I'll second that.
What is the number?
September
September
16th.
16th. Any discussion? All those in favor of,
I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm gonna lose my window. So when do we hear back about this, when the site visit is, and if Glenn can be present, and about the removals? Who gets back to us? And
so Brian will contact me, and any information pertaining to your questions, I'll email you.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
On a motion to continue the public hearing to September 16th, how do you all vote?
Yes.
Yes,
Any nays, any abstains? Very good.
Thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Very well.
Thank you.
Same things I said to the planning board, if correspondence does come into the commission, please forward it over, any questions, something you can try to get answered, and then they can do with the motion. I know Mr. Kravotsky, again, it's a very small fraternity. So if he has any concerns or that email, he could share it with Jessica. He can share it with me, so we can try to get those answers to you.
Yeah, I'm hoping he
So-
will directly communicate with you, because I don't understand most of this.
So this serves as your invitation to join us on September 16th to continue this. Same time, 6:30, this room.
Also, I mean, I love teaching people about wetlands, so anytime you want to come out and learn about wetlands and delineating them, I'm more than happy to take you. Concom, the town owns the land behind Cumbies over here, and it's a great example of a really easy wetland to delineate.
Right.
Jerry,
Thank you.
get on your.
yeah, way over there. All right.
George, do you guys have any material you can put back in the folder?
You want your handouts?
Oh, just like, if you have the NOI or the plans, I'll put them in the folder.
One of the biggest ones.
All right, are we closing this now?
No, you continued it.
No, we can't continue, but I mean, I can close it as on this hearing.
No,
No.
no,
okay.
you don't close.
You don't close it.
The hearing. Keep it open. Hearing is continued.
I'm sorry, we continued it, but I mean, we can go on to our
We can go
next
on.
one here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know
Now,
The word he's searching for is go on, move on.
we may move on. It's
We
now,
may move on, sir.
it's now 7:30, 7:39.
Thank you, Brian, for your time, and we'll,
And this has been continued to next month. Okay. Our next one. Are we all set? Everybody else set?
yep.
Okay, our next one is. Number. 6.
Yep.
31 Patriots Road for the construction of an addition within a 100-foot buffer zone. Removal of greenhouse from a wetland area. Do we have any NOI?
So I would be looking for a motion to open the hearing.
So moved?
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Okay, so, I'm gonna start by, reading the legal notice. 31 Patriots Road, Notice of Intent. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, that a public hearing will be held on a notice of intent filed by Trevor Fletcher of Graz Engineering on behalf of Tammy Byers of 31 Patriots Road.
Project location is 31 Patriots Road, Templeton, map 612, parcel 4. Description of project is the construction of an addition within the 100-foot buffer zone of a wetland and the removal of a greenhouse from a wetland area. The proposed alteration is set to impact bordering vegetated wetlands. The hearing will be held on August 19th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at Templeton Town Hall. Any person wishing to be heard concerning the above application should appear at the time and place indicated above. The notice of intent is available for public review at the Development Services Office, Room 3, 160 Patriots Road during regular office hours. The NOI is also available upon request from Jay Case at templetonma.gov, George Andrews, Chair of Templeton Conservation Commission. So Mass DEP doesn't have a file number for this right now. We did have a site visit on August 15th. Eventually, I would, recommend a motion to continue the public hearing, but we do have the applicant with us this evening. And so if you would like to give her an opportunity to speak since she's here,
Absolutely.
maybe we should do that first and gather any information.
Yeah, if you want to just restate your name and address
see.
for the record. Yeah,
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All you have to
Don't
do
be
is,
shy, we
all
don't bite yet.
all you have to do is state your name and address and any additional information you want to provide the commission. And then eventually we'll continue the hearing to next month. And your engineer will be here to, answer any detailed questions, but Mass DEP still has to provide you a number and their comments.
Tammy Byers, 31 Patriots Road. I really, I kind of feel like this has been such a drawn out process and I don't really know what to say to you guys or what not to say. I just basically just wanted an addition. I didn't realize it would be such an ordeal. And I promise I know how to look at wetlands maps. And when I put that greenhouse up over 5 years ago, there was nothing written there and it's just sitting on cinder blocks. It's not like I dug anything but obviously I'll do whatever I need to do to put that addition up because I have a one bathroom home that has a 5x7 bathroom. And I really want another bathroom. So if the greenhouse needs to be moved, then it shall be. Although you'd let me keep it there, that'd be great. But I understand. Either way, my biggest thing is I'd really like to put that addition up.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you.
I can answer any questions, but I really don't
Yeah,
feel like I know.
No, that's fine.
that's perfectly
Oh,
fine.
We're all over there. aren't we?
Yeah.
We're all over this. So we know what-
I
what we're
didn't
looking at.
know, but
You weren't there, yeah.
I sent you pictures.
The other
you
four,
did. Thank you. I
You're welcome.
appreciate that.
the other four of us were there. but-
If you would like to go out again, this is probably going to get continued and, we can get you a site visit.
Oh, and all of you guys went. So I'll just defer to you.
Okay.
I will say too, I don't know if it matters, but I'm very big on, organic gardening. So there's not any pesticides that I'm using on any plants that I have there. I might, put some like the
Fertilizer.
Yeah, most of us have gardens, so.
like the powder and stuff for the like beetles, but it's all like the,
Organic.
Okay.
yeah, like I can't remember. Just my mind's
A lot of people, when they buy houses, they don't know where the wetland is. They don't know how it gets there. It's wet, But your particular one comes from a long ways away and it comes all the way down about a mile from where it starts about a mile, the other side of the road.
Yeah, it comes to the culvert under the road.
And it comes across the street. That's why,
Yeah.
that's why you get the water where it is, just right there on the edge of your embankment right there.
Yeah.
And
Well, if I can ask you guys a couple questions. Sure. Because I see that the 100-foot wetland buffer actually goes right through the existing dwelling
Mhm.
on this. And
I think when they built the house, the wetlands probably weren't in their current locations.
okay. And the DP said it was an intermittent stream.
Yep.
That's what.
On
that's-
the RDA that they submitted to the state,
yeah.
that they
It's
appealed to
still
the state.
running. It's been,
It's
I
been a
know.
very wet year.
I know.
I will say last year and this year are literally
Last year-
only years that I've not seen it dry up, at least for a few weeks in the
And,
summer.
and to be deemed a perennial stream, it has to be, the source needs to be 1 point something square miles. So if there isn't a source that big, it's considered intermittent.
Yeah, they deemed it intermittent, but they also agreed with this commission that the determination was positive and thus agreeing that an
Yeah.
NOI was needed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Several different ways.
so. So where is the greenhouse located? On here?
Upper left-hand corner.
Okay,
This
Yeah.
is where she wants to put the addition here.
okay, and the wetlands are here?
Right here.
Up here.
Comes in here.
Oh, the stream is up here, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Then it comes down and around behind the wetland, then it goes down onto 101.
Oh, I see, okay. Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's very wet out there.
Yeah, because when we did that house down on 101, you weren't with us, but the three of us, it ends up that on 101 and it goes under the road on the other side of 101.
Okay,
It's a long,
I'm just trying to get an
Yeah,
idea of,
absolutely.
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
There is
I didn't
a
even see this over here.
spot where it kind of goes underground. It's not,
Yeah.
it's the last couple of years have been rough. But it's not a continual stream that's
she,
very
you know, she does have a bridge
established
across here.
on either side, kind of in the middle. It's
Comes in.
kind of underground and peeking out here and there and
There. The
Yeah.
greenhouse is there. And behind the greenhouse, well, it followed down through the two bridges going down under 101.
Okay, I'm just trying to get an overall picture of
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
you know.
So if we,
Thank you for answering.
if we continue this tonight, then Trevor will come to the next meeting and go over what he put in this plan for
Yes.
Tammy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have Mass DEP's file number and comments by them then as
Okay.
well.
Well, I make a motion that we continue it until our next meeting.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay,
All right.
same time.
September 16th.
September 16th, Tammy.
bummer. I was hoping this would be settled
16.
tonight, but I will. see
No,
you
we
guys.
need
Six
some
6:30.
DEP's comments first, unfortunately.
Yeah. I totally understand. Thank you guys. for your
Thank you,
support.
Tammy, for coming in.
Have a Good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Here's the other one.
You guys have any plans? I can put them back in the file.
sent them down. Oh, wait, no, sorry, one
That's
more.
okay. That's okay.
I sent
Oh,
them.
back down.
I'll take that as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see.
Is it me? Conservation?
It
It
is.
is now
Okay.
7.
So last meeting, we were talking about CPC funds for open space. I did reach out to the chair of the Community Preservation Committee, and he said that the original use of that fund was to create the open space plan, which we have now.
Yeah.
He says it was never finalized. That's what we spent the other 7,000 on. But since it wasn't completed, he said we should get it for the 8-year acceptance level as possible. The interesting piece of information on all this is we don't have an open space committee right now. There were only 3 members that wanted to be reappointed, and the bylaw states it's a 5-member committee. So there is no active open space committee.
I did talk to Amanda and she's willing to be the conservation representative on the open space committee, so
Nice.
it would be
Or-
just looking.
That's nice.
looking for one
Yeah,
more
that's awesome.
person.
Yeah. So essentially what I told the CPC was it will take 5 residents to restart it up again. And it is not like under your jurisdiction. The open space committee is, per the bylaws, it is not.
Per federal law it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Just providing you the information that I researched with town bylaws, that they're not, you don't oversee them per town bylaws. You can be independent and you don't have to like have joint meetings. You don't have to, all of that stuff. So There was,
Usually open space and
Yeah,
conservation.
I'm sure they work
Yeah,
together,
They
but
do. yeah.
They're just a separate committee because they have access to more grant funding and.
Yeah.
Various other reasons.
I mean, we have access to find grants and stuff too.
Absolutely.
And so we still have not figured out Dobler Hill, what were they doing up there? Have we?
Take that.
When were they doing things there?
Huh?
When was that?
They started last week, and there's something that was being done in that area.
My next update is I emailed you a copy, but I received a forest cutting plan for 282 South Road. And this is just informational as the service forester hasn't stamped the plans yet. Do you have any questions?
Hey, do we have any questions for you, Kristen?
Do you want to state your comment?
It's not
It's that.
It's not at 282 South Road. That's where I live. The address of the thing is 193. So
190 what?
193 South Road is the address of where he's doing the plan for. So I don't know if that,
Where does it say that on this?
well,
Site
maybe
information,
it doesn't.
location.
Maybe I.
Could
Well,
be
it just
193.
says a mailing address,
I
so
that
it
might
has,
be it.
you need. Yeah.
Well, thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate that.
Detail, yeah.
That doesn't say that.
Oh, this is down behind the house on the other side, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Which
Um,
they wanted to clear out years ago, but they wanted to put houses down there. I don't know if you remember that one.
oh, yes, we want that extensively.
You know where it is then.
So what is checked here is long-term forest management. So when you do a forest cutting plan like this, then you're supposed to leave it in forestry for, I believe it is 10 years. At least 10 years. So it couldn't be like developed or.
That particular piece of property can't be developed per order of the planning board. Because it was a paper road when I bought the property. And when the planning board allowed that developer to get, it was for 50 acres or something, and he put in a paper road with 8 houses on it that he never built because the market crashed. And they let him do it with only roads with the frontage, so it doesn't have even frontage enough for one house. So I had to go before planning and before zoning to get permission to do one house. And they put in there forever and ever, amen, that it can only ever have one house because of that, even though it's 50 acres. So it was kind of like an oversight. But this all came about because the neighbors, Gail and I'm forgetting the last name.
Winslow?
Yeah, Winslow.
I just looked at
They
it.
were logging 25 acres behind there, but he didn't have a good way out. And I don't know if you remember the road I put in to get
Yeah.
back to that house, but I
Yeah.
put in quite a significant driveway when I built the house back there. So I called the logger and I'm like, why don't you just use my road? And then you don't have to go across somebody else's property. They were gonna come out through Cosentino's.
Wow.
So it's better for the neighborhood. And then while the guy's out there, I said, you might as well take a few. Yeah, there's really not that much timber out there
That's
actually, because it got done it got done a few years before I bought it. The previous owner had logged the hell out.
He used to own the
So-
bus, he used to own the bus company in St. George.
So it's going to be long-term forest management.
I don't know how to answer that. It's already in chapter 61A land.
Oh, perfect, because that's not shaped in the front either.
No,
So all my land is already in agriculture.
okay.
Okay,
Good.
I have
Thank you for answering those questions for us.
I just wanted to, if any resident watches conservation, if you've seen tree cutting off of Otter River Road where Martin Road would have been, please know that that is a forest cutting plan. That is a state permit. It is monitored by the DCR Service Forester. And if any residents have any questions, I can provide you with his contact information and you can reach out to him directly.
I think they got that message the
That is
other day.
not a permit that I monitor.
Correct.
Thank you.
I think they get the, there was that much on the internet
You
about it.
mentioned Doubler Hill.
Yeah,
Do I have any chair comments?
no, I told them on the internet that that particular one was already taken care of and it was already
Okay.
or Phil, so the people know already that we're on the internet, but, yeah, I just want to know, have we heard anything about Dobler Hill?
What is Dobler Hill?
Right across from the water tank on South Road.
Right near
With the-
Christoph's place.
Right, where the thing
Cow
is.
farm goes up the hill.
And there's a antenna up there. It's an
What about it, Jordan?
Yeah, what about it?
Well, somebody was saying that they're up there out there surveying, and I didn't hear anything more. I don't know if you heard anything
I
about.
have not, sir.
Because that's where Gary Young used to live at the bottom. And it looks as though they're cleaning up his yard just down in the corner of Poplar Hill. That's all I can see when I went up there.
Okay,
Yeah, and he passed away not that long ago. They may just be, you know,
Yeah.
having
Yeah,
a
surveying's-
the survey or
surveying's
something.
allowable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But just so people know, that's what's being done in that area. It appears that they're surveying it and they are trying to get some of the old junk cars and trucks. and all
Cleanup's
that
always
out of there.
good. Yeah, that's great.
What if it's at one of those surveyors that I saw on that other property on
Yeah,
South Road?
yeah.
Maybe, because in the back of that, it would be that
That area
now.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
connected.
connected.
Yeah, because that Double Hill comes out the other side, goes on the Hubbardston Road. That house where I fell down the
Oh,
hill
my God.
is right,
Right there.
is right there. On the opposite side. I saw them in there paving on that hill too, on the Hubbardston Road, yeah, the other day. Going up that big.
George, I have a question unrelated to anything
You're up, yep.
if I can, before we adjourn.
Sure.
What is our quorum now for this
So-
size group?
Great.
Right.
Great.
More than half,
Okay. So if we have three of us here, can we vote on something?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you miss too many meetings, you're gonna be in big trouble.
Yeah, you have to fill out that,
Only the vice something, right?
you have to fill out the Mullins rule every
Can't get me
time.
in
now.
trouble yet. Not
So
for a
if you
year.
miss a meeting, you have to fill out the Mullins rule certification, which says that you watched the previous meeting and reviewed all the material. Otherwise, you can't vote on anything at the next meeting.
Yeah, you just abstain, yeah.
And you know, the most interesting, doesn't regard us. You know, your Uncle Richard that passed away.
Yeah.
A person I worked with for 12 years called me today. I haven't heard from her in 12 years. She says, I heard Richard Charlie had died. She used to work with elsewhere.
Joanne, any comments?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Come on in. Thomas,
It was brought, okay, George and I went out to Rainbow Drive. Which is on Patriots Pond. It's a camp out there. That a deck was being built on the camp. The person didn't apply for a building permit application, which would have triggered a conservation sidewalk. So we went out after the fact. Erosion controls were put in place. There was minimal disturbance of, dirt or, digging. It was just for a
Oh, we-
couple of
we
posts.
should have filed, we didn't do it.
But the building department and the developmental service said that, because everything is kind of after the fact, they should have filed for a request for a determination of applicability. George did sign off because they did put up the erosion controls, but the fact remains they didn't apply for a building permit and started building, which would have triggered us to go out there and we would have said, you have to file an RDA with us. So none of that happened. So I'm not really sure how we should move forward on that. What's everyone's feelings on that? If we should send a notice that, an RDA needs to be filed or should have been filed, or I don't know. How do you guys feel?
3 years ago, though, he had applied to do the front walkway. He did it like he was supposed to. Remember, back by your, Charlie. What's his name?
Charlie Carroll.
Charlie Carroll. Where we were gonna go on Saturday, right? You weren't able to go.
Yes.
But he already had the porch out. And he didn't have anything down there. He should have applied.
Right.
And gotten a building permit, he didn't do it.
Is he applying for a building permit
Yes,
post?
yes.
Oh, so that triggers us to go out anyways, yes.
And we did Saturday.
Okay.
And you saw that there was erosion controls in place already?
Yes.
And so what did you, when you say George signed off, what does that mean? What did you sign?
That was a site work. We did a site walk. That's all I signed up.
Sign off on the
So he
building
can
permit
keep
application,
going.
so he can keep going, correct.
So that's fait
Well,
accompli.
we should have made him. As the building inspector told me today. I mean, the building. We should have made him come in and file anyhow. And when we didn't tell him he had to, so.
Doesn't he need a
I
straight
made a
NOI
mistake.
because it's right on the river?
No, absolutely not. The work is minimal and it would have been excessive because every other camp down there pretty much, you know, has decks and whatnot. Any new ones should be applying for RDAs. And I think that we need to talk to the association, who are very nice people, to let them know that when the private camps are doing something like this, because almost all of them are in the buffer zone, they're
Right.
right on top of the pond.
Yeah.
That needs to be a separate filing
Right.
from their
We told them that.
we did tell them
Yeah.
that. Regular maintenance filing.
Yeah, we
Right,
told them.
But he did do what he was supposed to do. He went through them and got their permission to do it. But then he
Right.
did it without getting the
Our
permission,
permission.
our permission,
Right.
and I didn't realize that.
You know,
Well, what we
and
need
to my knowledge, there's not like an after the fact request for determination of applicability. You would just have to, you know, have him file and.
Well, I think what we should do, we just did all of fishing gun, all the rules and regulations. We didn't put that in yet, to make sure
We did.
they,
We did.
We did.
that, we put in there that they were supposed to tell him to get his building permit before he did. Is that on there? I didn't see it. I don't know.
Well, that wouldn't have been part of their maintenance plan, but we certainly made that clear to them, especially with that one dilapidated
Yeah, okay.
camp.
Right.
That
Okay.
was gonna have to be a total
the-
separate filing from their regular maintenance
Yeah.
plan.
okay.
I
So,
think we could send him a letter requesting that he submit an RDA, so we have it on record at least.
and that's why I'm, you know, asking you what you guys feel is the best way to move forward.
What do you think?
Yep, have them fill out the paperwork and then we move
All
on.
right,
Okay.
can we do that, Jess? In the letter?
I cannot speak.
Oh, that's out there, you can't speak.
Are you able to at least write a letter requesting the RDA?
I
You
will,
have to go through Lori.
I will ask Lori.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you write it, we'll sign
You.
it. And whether you don't, I know why you.
I
can't.
will ask Lori if I can write it.
I know the situation there. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so, you
And that-
feel that that's a good way to move forward?
And like that other problem we found on the way home to your house,
Yeah, I'm gonna
That
talk
was a
about
wa-
that next.
that
but
was
I
a water
just
problem.
Didn't wanna leave Christoph
Well,
out here.
Yeah, no.
I guess they had
It's fine, okay.
up on. By the old Apple Road, they had a water main break up there. Off the edge, right next to the pond. They went out, they cut 3 trees out. Apparently fixed it. But they left it muddy, they need to go up there and straighten it out.
It is a mess. It is a clear violation of the Wetlands Protection Act. It is,
Yeah.
if it was caused by the water department, they need to, they can file with us
Right.
for like an emergency
Right.
certificate,
They
you know.
should have,
Is it Bob that does that work?
again,
No, not the
Oh.
water department. This is the water department,
Okay.
not highway.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, you know.
They
be
should
able-
have filed after they finished
They
with it.
should have a
That's
That
standing
is
order.
done, that's all.
Like Bob has a standing order that he can do maintenance in certain areas
Well,
under these regulations.
what
The water
happened
department
here
affects that.
Was, you know, there's no erosion controls.
Mm.
And some of the work was right next to the pond. They filled in like this big hole. It was just awful. So.
3
we're gonna
stone and
see that.
pebbles.
You
So
take
I'm,
pictures?
yeah, I'll show you too, Chris.
Oh, yeah, she sent it.
You guys, yeah, here we go, you ready?
Mhm.
Look at this.
Oh, that is a lot of work. Okay.
And
Why is the
And
water
nobody could
department
find where that
that?
land was, but come to find out, it belongs to State Highway.
that is just the path that goes over to the old Athol Road. Look at this, look at
Oh,
this.
yeah.
It's right on top of the
And
wetland.
they left the poles they cut down
This
right
is
there on
all
the ground
muddied up.
behind it. They didn't even take the
Well,
trees
so
out of
water
there.
department Out there.
They had to fix those.
They had,
Supposedly,
well, water main break.
What size water line?
And
we don't know anything. We couldn't even find out who owned the property.
Huh.
Right, Jess?
But we found it.
The assessor is still confirming, but it appears to be state land and not private
Oh.
property.
But they're not exempt either.
No, they're not.
So,
No.
so we need, George, did you talk to someone from the water department?
I stopped and they were supposed to call me. They did not call me. I will call them again tomorrow.
Yeah, because if we can just have you gone out and looked at this?
I did,
Thank you.
Yeah.
We-
with the assessor.
Okay. So as soon as you can confirm who the
Yeah.
owner of the property is, and George is gonna try
Appears
to
to be-
find out why the activity
It's in
occurred.
front of the pond, right?
Yeah, right.
I saw the same thing.
Well,
It's
that's why.
state.
the
It's
main
part
one-
of Route 2A. It's not part of the private owner behind it.
Right, I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is
Yeah.
that this path here,
Mhm.
this is Old Athol Road right there.
Mhm.
But they came in from
That's all.
2A. That's
Right.
2A right there.
Yeah.
So that's right off
Yeah, so the
2A.
water department needs a standing order of conditions like we
If-
have for the highway.
If it's the
department.
water department,
It
I
was the water.
think-
department.
think
I-
George should get
I
a phone call
should
back
just-
and confirm that
Yeah,
with them.
but I did talk to the secretary there and she went out and talked to somebody else.
Yeah.
Yes, we worked on it 2 weeks ago.
To get it either, because they're part of
Right,
the
and-
government.
It's just if we're gonna,
What one's here?
they should have done when they were done,
Right.
at least
Let
put
us-
hay bale next to
It's
it
all mud.
after they got finished to pay something else,
All dug up.
but they didn't do that.
That's path going to Old Athol Road.
Hmm.
This is right, this is the wetland right here. This is all dug. And then they put this
When I
fill
was
in.
in
here.
trouble making the towns.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But we need to find out.
all
I
the
talked
bottom.
to the guys that are working on the 2 bridges. Oh, that's we're not working down there. I says, okay, that's all I asked.
So anyway, we'll get to the bottom of it and whoever did it needs to fix it.
We'll go from there.
Yep.
So just follow up on your phone call and
Yep,
keep us all in the loop.
and Jim.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Hughes.
Can I get a motion to,
Does Amanda have any comments?
Oh,
Does Dave have any comments?
no,
Christoph?
get a motion to close?
Our next meeting is Monday, September 16th at 6:30.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?